And then I'm wondering if this one could have a partial met, since it's a couple of steps. There's inform, and then there's plan. If only one of them happens.
Well, and it's a plan. Oh, how about, well,
Do you think it could be partially met?
yeah, well, I'm just trying to think of, I'm trying to think of, I'm thinking the thing that would be partial would be, like, I think you have to have number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number one has to be there to be met. That isn't met or unmet. Number two is happening over the course of at least 3 different days.
Do you need to separate those?
So,
Like make that number 3? Like part of it number 2 and part of it number 3?
well, I'm wondering, because I'm thinking the partially met would be, oh, I did individually plan strategies with the staff on day 1 and day 2, but day 3 it's like, oh, they know what's happening, so I don't need to really do this anymore. They're going to assume, so I don't do it on the 3rd day. I could see how that could be a partially met, but you'd have to at least do it 1 day to be met. So how can we break it down to say that 1 day it absolutely has to happen to be met, and 2nd, 3rd day would be partially met?
Okay. My suggestion would be
So how do we break down days?
2 would be inform all staff. And then number 3, gather materials down to 4. Number 3 would be plan strategies, and then have in your rubric how you want that met and partially met.
Oh, okay.
See what I'm saying?
So having my first skill be individualizing the pages, correct? My second skill would be informing the staff of my learning objective. And then skill number 3 would be planning strategies with the teachers for the observations.
Right. Okay, so let me copy and paste gather materials download.
So then the skill for number 2 could be communicate objective.
Oh yeah, I don't want to leave that one. Let's see. Oh no, I don't. I want to take that whole thing down for it. I can even confuse myself. Okay, I'm almost ready for the give me just a second so I can clear my head. Okay, now I'm ready for number 3.
Okay, so now I have on, going back up to number 2, for our skill description, number 2 is to communicate objective. And I'm seeing that I would want to inform all staff in mixed age room of my learning objective.
Okay.
And then I think too, what I'd like to do, you can copy and paste that sentence. And you copy and paste that sentence again. Inform all staff in mixed age room of reason for objective.
You want
Like
that
to
as
say
number 3?
What it is and no.
Oh, because I already have it there.
Number 2.
Yeah, I already have it there on number 2. I just need to move the next part down.
Inform all staff in the multi-age room of my...
Practice-based learning
Uh-huh.
objective, but then this needs
No,
to
no,
go
no,
down.
no, no. Yes, you're right, that needs to go down to 3.
Paste.
I didn't get it.
Huh, no, I didn't. Okay, the planning strategies with them is going to go down. Okay.
Okay, now erase that from here.
Mhm.
Okay, so this is number 1. Inform all staff.
Okay. Oops. Is this the first one we've had a 1 and a 2 and a 3?
Oh,
Oh.
we've had this
Right.
before.
No, I know, but in this one. Oh,
No, that we had a 1 and a 2.
we did. Okay. Just want to make sure I didn't miss that.
Okay, so inform all staff of the mixed age room of the
Is there a second part to that?
learning objective, and yeah, the second part, inform all staff of the reasoning for the learning objective. So instead of, hey, I'm gathering information, I would like to say I'm gathering information. This is why I'm gathering information.
Right. I like it. Inform all staff on the reasoning, or of the reasoning.
Yeah, what am I doing and why am I
Of the
doing it?
reasoning for the PBLO. All right. Now that's met and unmet or partially met, one of the two.
Maybe partially met a 1 of the 2. I can
Okay.
see that. The what or the why.
Only one of the 2 above.
And unmet would be none of them.
None of the above. Okay?
So then our number 3 is plan with coworkers, plan with
You can
Teaching
call it
staff?
in- Yeah. And teaching. Well, are there any other staff in there that are not teaching staff? Are there any other adults in there? Okay. Plan with teaching staff. Okay, communicate objective, plan with teaching staff. Plan strategies for the observations. Example, who responds to incidents involving Christian and or Adeline? Each day observations occur.
and that would be a met or unmet. Did you do it today when you observed? Or did you not do it today when you observed?
Okay. I'll just put none of the above unless we think of something better to say. Okay.
Then 4 was gather materials.
Mm-hmm.
We should have a pencil or pen, a clipboard, 2 individual copies of the ABC data sheet for both Adeline and Christian, and 1 individualized copy of the scatter plot for both Adeline and Christian.
I'm kind of thinking back on the other one, then you finally get to read the story or conduct the observations.
Conduct observations, yes. Because now I should have all my materials, people know what's going on, we should have our supports in place to let it happen.
And Met would be doing them all as planned. I'm just wouldn't say doing. Like deal with the child.
Completing. Let me say it here. Completing the behavior data. Oh no, the scatter plot. Completing the scatter plot. I think I like breaking it down into each one. I just think it makes it easier when we get to Met.
Okay.
Completing the scatter plot.
And
ABC data sheet. On 3 different days each. Completing, no. I want to use that same wording, on 3 different days each.
wait, I shouldn't be looking at this because this is the incomplete one. I need to look at the one that we completed.
You have it typed on the top there. You can copy paste.
Yes, I can.
Completing the scatter
Oh my
plot and
goodness.
ABC data sheet.
Okay, I'm gonna copy it.
Oh, and you can have it there. Collect data on Adeline and or Christian using the scatter plot and the ABC data sheet.
And then end at frame.
3 days each. I think just 3 days each.
But you want
Well,
to do
actually,
it within a 2-week period.
I don't want to say that here because we have to be able to check this off on 1 visit. See what I'm saying? So my ultimate goal is to get to 3, but we're not writing
Right.
on my story that I'm doing it 3 times. Because I'm
Right.
just doing it once. So it's completing the scatter plot and the ABC data sheet on either Adeline, each. I want to say each.
Each. Okay.
Completing both. There we go.
Mhm.
Completing both. Oh, no. I do think that I will complete both, but I'm giving myself that big time frame in case I'm like, whoa, I really can't do 2 sheets on the same day. This is confusing me. So completing either the scatter plot or completing the scatter plot and or ABC data sheet
On both.
Christian and or Adeline.
Now, for modeling purposes, it seems like I would need to model both tools. So I'm wondering, completing scatter plot.
But it's
and-
giving us the ability to do both or the ability to say, I only did 1 this day because
Okay.
doing both at the same time was a lot harder than I thought. So I'm doing the scatter plot today and tomorrow I'm bringing out the ABC data sheet.
But you still want to keep that the same.
Yeah, I don't think I think that this reflects that flexibility. That's why I have within the 2 weeks, because
completing, oh, I just need to put complete. Complete scatter plot and or ABC data sheet on Christian and or Adeline, period.
Period.
And then unmet is, I don't think there's a partially met there. So if there's an and or,
Yeah, no, I don't think that there's a partially met.
not.
Well, no, okay, so let me think of this though. Okay, so I'm trying to imagine I'm in the room and there's going to be times, and this is going to be very realistic with implementation and using this in a classroom. I'm not going to get to be fly in the wall. I'm going to have to be dealing with things. And even though I've got a plan set up for other people to work with those children so I can focus on writing the sheet, I will probably miss some of those things because I'm in the middle of this activity with this kid. I had to bring this kid to the restroom. I have this kid who's asking me to tie their shoe at the same time, you know? So how do I reflect that I'm recording all the incidences I can possibly record? That's met.
I think when you're really doing it, you do make those plans with your coworkers so that you can get accurate information. Because you've planned that ahead of time and they're
I can see a scatter plot. I don't know that I'm going to get every single incident that happens on an ABC data sheet. Could I not? See, I don't know. I don't know if I will be able to until I do it. I don't know what it's going to be like. Being in the classroom and having that happen.
Yeah, and we might try it through modeling and then we go, well, that didn't work. And then we change it for behavior rehearsal.
That makes sense, or even just change it later on as I try to get my 3 done and I'm like really in the room and doing it.
Right, because this is new for me too.
This isn't working out exactly, because I have no idea how that's gonna really go in the real world.
Okay.
So that makes sense. I think we can leave that as a met, unmet, and then we'll look at it later. Because I'm thinking, realistically, there's going to be I'm going to get everything I can possibly get. And
so not completing either one.
Yeah, I'm not completing either one.
Okay.
Said I was going to observe, and I just kind of didn't really get that paper out and do it.
Yeah. And then, is there anything that happens next? We thank the children for misbehaving.
Thank you for giving me information that I was able to record to inform me of your challenging behaviors and their functions.
No, because you've already written into it, so that's completing it. And we don't have anything here about reviewing it, so I'm wondering if that's it.
I'm seeing.
Let me read it again.
I'm saying the one other thing that I would need to do that would be a met or unmet would be the handling of the documentation. Where is that documentation going so it's in a place where it can be found. And it's in a place that honors the confidentiality of the child. That it's not, I've got this sitting on the counter.
Okay, so
Whereas parents might be able to read it or something.
Storing, filing, securing.
Yeah, I'm thinking, how would you say that?
I like storing.
Handling of data?
But what does that mean? Where do you want to store
You're right,
it?
that handling does
Where
sound
do you
different.
store it?
I would create a file.
Okay, create a file.
That's what I would do.
So, a met for creating a file would be.
Okay, so I'm saying to create a file that I would need to, I'm thinking again, and I'm thinking, do I need to tell other teachers that I have that info and it's there? And I'm thinking, no, because this is my data collection, not their data collection. If we were teaming on the data collection, I would need to do that. Hey, I'm not going to be
in a whole nother
I'm
part
not
of
gonna
the
be there
process.
tomorrow, but I know
Yeah.
you're gonna do data, so, okay, so I don't need that. So it'd be just identifying.
Location? A lot.
Identifying locked filing cabinet for storage. Cabinet for file.
I like that. Locked cabinet for file.
And label the file for easy identification.
Ooh, I'll put that before. Oh no, it doesn't necessarily have to be before. Okay, so that might be 2. So 1 is identifying where it's gonna go.
Yeah, which filing cabinet?
Really could go either way. Okay.
And I do want it to be a locked filing cabinet because this is about
2
child confidentiality.
is labeling. Is that what you said?
Label file for easy identification.
Easy identification. Makes me wonder. Do you want to file it by child? Do you want to file it by the form? I mean, I don't know how you keep children's files typically. You keep them all together?
That's interesting. For this purpose, I'm thinking just for this specific purpose, I would have one file for myself that would say PPA data collection.
Okay, can I put that in parentheses as an example?
Mm-hmm.
PPA data collection? Okay, got it.
Or PPA, you know what? Say I'm thinking easy identification, PPA challenging behavior data collection. Because of different roles that I have, I could see that as being, is that where I put those employee surveys? Because that also is PPA data collection. So I think if I ended up, but yeah, that would be an example, because I'm saying then if I had a couple different kids, I don't know, it would depend on the kid and where I was in the process of whether I would want that in an individual file or whether I'd have one folder with all their sheets in it and I would flip to different tabs. Boy, I don't know.
Yeah, and that can be adjusted, modified as you figure out what's the most, what makes the most sense and efficient. Efficiency is what I was trying to think of. Okay, so do you think we're done? And we thought it was going to be hard. I'm so proud of us.
We're getting so much better at breaking things down into really what are the little steps needed.
We're getting to be pros. Oh, I just need an unmet for that one.
Well, you're not neither of the above.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to be pros. So now, there's not anything else on this that we need to do, because the rest, comments on modifications necessary to promote inclusions of all or specific children, that can, we can add notes to that. We've talked about that already some, and then additional notes as we go along.
And again, how some of this is just so built into the individualizing.
So then I just want to check my notes here because I think in addition to the skill set rubric, just to kind of review dates and also
Don't forget that number
complete
2.
the implementation plan. Is that what you're talking
Yes.
about? All right, so well, let's talk about the strengths associated with, I don't know, what makes sense to you? Talk about the strengths associated with implementation, or what it is you want to do with this strategy in the future?
What it is I want to do
Okay.
first.
Who? Would be Rachel.
So, I see myself in the future. I'm trying to think of how I want to say it. So again, I'm just going to talk out loud. Then maybe you can help me think of how we would need to break it down. I see myself in the future wanting to use these as references and resources if or when I have a concern with the child.
Okay, so as needed?
It would be an as needed. And
we're talking about the ABC.
data sheet, then scatter plot. And I'm seeing myself wanting to use these because I feel like this is going to give me some confidence and comfortability in using them. And I also see myself, especially if I get to the point, if we have a child with a challenging behavior, that I would want to pull this out and try that. I totally see myself using that too.
And what's nice is
And
this
bringing
is
that
the
out.
beginning. This is the first step to, and you might find that you don't need to pull a team in based on your data. Your data's going to tell you whether or not you need to have this team and to keep continuing down that road. Okay, so should we just make this the action as simple as using
No, I definitely
data.
want to really put them into practice, using them when that need arises, when I have a child with challenging behavior.
Okay. Well, that was easy. Now, what are the strengths associated with this implementation? I definitely see a strength as you're understanding it a lot better. We both are understanding it a lot better. Of those two,
and
or
seeing
3
different,
tools, actually.
really thinking about it in these practical terms really helps me to see different uses for different tools, or different uses at different stages.
Okay. And what stages, what they collect. The different information that they collect. Some are stronger in frequency than others.
And I would want to say too that I think a strength always associated with implementation is the willingness to try it. Whether you think you can do it or not, or whether you are like sold on it, oh, I love this strategy, just try it and see how it works. And if you have issues, then you know what they are and you can talk about them and work through them. But if you don't ever try anything, then you're just stuck. You have to try new things.
Yes, I can so relate to that. Trying pyramid
really
plus
stubborn.
approach.
I'm really stubborn with things too.
And
But
I
there's
get
something
stubborn.
about me too that knows, Rachel, that you just need to try it. So stop being so stubborn and say, it's not gonna work, it's not gonna work, it's a waste of my time. You know, just do it. And if it ends up being a waste of your time, then you can go and have that conversation again. Okay, I really did try this, and this is why I feel it's not working for me. You know, if you still believe that after trying it, okay, we can work through that when we get there. But don't not try it because you're just making some stubborn thing of, oh, peas are gross. You know, you have to taste them.
Well, I can
and give
relate.
them a chance before you can really decide if it's a waste of your time. So it's time to let that go.
I can relate because my deal is failure. And, you know, if I'm afraid I'm gonna fail,
Oh, I want to try it.
I want to give up. You know, it's just like, oh, I've just got to give this up. I'm just not getting it, and I must have to give this up. I'm just not cut out for this. That's my weakness.
But so you're a step ahead of me because you try it. You take the first step, and boy, it's been really hard for me to take the first step. That's been baby steps for me.
Yeah.
Rachel, stop being so darn stubborn. Stop being so afraid to fail and not be able to do it 100%. Give it a chance.
So I think we covered everything today. We got a really nice practice-based learning objective and a skill set rubric to go with it. And we have a date for, let's see, our next visit. Papers everywhere.
I have July 2nd to 2 p.m.
I have June 30th.
Oh, June 30th, yes.
Okay, at 1:30.
June 30th at 1:30.
Modeling, brief, and modeling. And I promised Robin that I would get everything submitted over the weekend. And then I'm going camping.
Nice, nice. For the modeling, are you going to be modeling it in the classroom with kids? Are you going to be modeling it? Because I know that we had just kind of talked about this before, like, how on earth am I supposed to, like, practice this?
Right,
and do my behavior rehearsal, and I was wondering if video was a possibility, and will you be...
And that's what the modeling brief will be about, because we'll be
talking about
planning
what
it.
we're going to do. And
Exactly.
Okay, perfect.
I don't have an agenda.
Sounds perfect.
Thank you so much. And we didn't even have to use the parking lot.
That's because I just throw it all out there anyway. I ain't
That was
parking
good.
nothing, man.
That felt really, really good.